Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly Kane, and I'm the Marketing Manager for Wonderware NorCal. Thank you for attending our MES webinar today. After the webinar this morning, we will be doing a short Q&A. Please type any questions or comments into the Q&A box, the chat box, or email us at webinar@norcal.wonderware.com. Now I'd like to introduce your presenters for today's webinar. Your first presenter is Mike Levitan. Mike is an automation industry expert and has been with a Wonderware NorCal product specialist for the past 8 years. And your second presenter will be Sam Vale from Apex Manufacturing Solutions. Sam has been leading MES initiatives at Apex since 2008. Prior to Apex, Sam worked for 12 years at Nestle, filling various operations, information technology, automation, and management roles. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll turn it over to Mike. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, good morning, Kelly. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar, Improve OEE with Wonderware MES. We're really excited about this webinar. I think we've got a great success story to share with you today that might be able to help you in understanding how you might use Wonderware MES to improve plant efficiency, to reduce costs, and do more with existing equipment and resources. Our agenda today is to talk about what's the vision of Wonderware MES, Manufacturing Execution Systems. We'll do a brief introduction to System Platform, which is the base framework technology that we use, that we build MES on top of. We have various MES capabilities and benefits depending on your needs, so we'll talk about those. And then I'll hand over the controls to Sam Vale with Apex Manufacturing Solutions, and he'll talk about a success story at New Belgium Brewing Company. They're able to improve their overall equipment effectiveness from 45% to 65%. I would like to point out that we offer workshops at our San Francisco office, which are free hands-on events on Wonderware manufacturing software solutions. We have a couple of seats available still for our workshop next week, October 1st, on Plant Reporting Made Simple. So if you want to attend that, come to norcal.wonderware.com or email us. We'll help you get registered. Come to this link, and this is a free event. We do ask for a PO or credit card to reserve your spot, but we do not bill you or invoice you so long as you attend. We also have a Wonderware MES homepage here, and you can come here to get quick links and documentation on Wonderware MES, additional webinars and training and success stories. So please do check that out. A little bit of background on Wonderware today. Wonderware is still the leading manufacturing execution software and SCADA software in the marketplace since 1987. So we've got a third of the world's plants and facilities that use Wonderware software. That equates to 650,000 licenses to date. And we are the proven, most lowest risk SCADA and MES software solution. Given the amount of time we've been around, our track record for preserving your investment, moving forward over time. If you put in Wonderware 25 years ago, that same application can be run on Windows 8 operating systems today without having to rebuild that original application. So certainly we've been doing this for a long time, and we've got a lot of customers that can testify that their applications have been able to move forward with them over time. Certainly there's a lot of effort that's put into making these systems very useful for our plants. Wonderware is scalable, allowing you to start small and grow incrementally over time and add functionality as your business requires. Wonderware NorCal has been your local resource since 1992. We provide local training and learning out of our San Francisco office. Wonderware corporate development and level 2 technical support is in Southern California and Lake Forest. Out of our San Francisco office, we offer free local workshops, which are hands-on introductory events, and you can register for upcoming webinars as well. We have local technical support here in California, so nothing's offshored, no waiting or voicemail or communication confusion. Accurate answers now is our commitment. And we also offer system consulting and sales, and we work with a large system integrator channel here in Northern California. If you're looking for some help to get a project going and you need a turnkey solution, we work with a great system integrator partner channel. Sam at Apex is representing one of our integrators here today to talk about a success story. So today we're going to talk about how Wonderware can help in the manufacturing link of the supply chain, how that enables an organization to achieve and maintain efficiency, reducing cost, maintaining compliance from a quality standpoint and a regulatory standpoint. So a couple of the acronyms we're talking about here: MES, Manufacturing Execution System, allows you to transform business objectives into operational commands and give you the manufacturing intelligence, which is the feedback to make sure that you're following your plan, you're reaching your goals, and if you're not, give you insight as to why so that you can correct that in a real-time fashion. Just an illustration of that point, we have strategic objectives. In the boardroom, for example, we have goals to reach certain efficiencies, reach certain quality goals, and to have certain documentation when we make product. And so a Wonderware MES allows you to have real-time visibility to make sure you're following that plan and give you the closed-loop feedback on where you can improve, or are you meeting those goals and making product within your specs and compliance. MES requires individual adoption. Every plant really is unique, and that is something that is very important in MES implementations, is that you can't treat an MES at one plant the same as at another plant, because every plant has different needs. And even if it's the same industry, each plant really has unique culture, has unique people and equipment, and unique needs as far as what kind of data they need to improve their processes and efficiency. So definitely working with Wonderware NorCal and folks like Apex is extremely critical in the design phase, the planning phase of an MES, and really get to the root cause of what are the business objectives we're trying to address and solve in an MES. So from a positioning statement, Wonderware MES allows you to improve operational performance by defining, controlling, collecting the information that's required to execute a physical production process in real time, and integration with the enterprise systems. So if you have other third-party systems, whether they're ERP accounting systems, lab systems, warehouse management systems, interacting with those other systems as well to get the real-time information from the plant floor to the right people. The Wonderware vision is to integrate and improve these disparate systems so that if you have an event, for example, you have an alarm, you have something starting to deviate in the wrong direction, whether it's a quality issue or an efficiency issue, a compliance issue, that the Wonderware MES allows you to see that information in context, alert you to that correct information so that everybody's aware of what's going on, and you can react and keep things moving on track. Wonderware MES is built on the Wonderware System Platform. Wonderware System Platform is the base framework that allows you to connect to your real-time devices and collect that information in context. And how do we do that? Wonderware System Platform connects to any PLC, any programmable logic controller in your plant. That's really the heart or the brain of the control system, the automation system. And so Wonderware System Platform really connects to any PLC or automation system you have in place. Even if you have a competitive third-party HMI or their SCADA system in place, but you need to add MES, Wonderware System Platform can even act just as middleware between your existing HMI or SCADA system and your ERP accounting system. So we connect to anything. And in the development back-end of System Platform, you build up a plant model. And the plant model really reflects your plant, your equipment, your processes. And it's really important that we collect the information in context of this model so that we can report on the data in context of your plant and your processes. So if you want to look at overall equipment effectiveness by a piece of equipment as well as at the higher level at a line, we can do that. If you want to look at traceability for a product as far as the different pieces of equipment that product ran through and what were the alarms and what did the process look like, we can do that because we collect the data in context of a plant model. It's very unique to Wonderware. And we collect all of the real-time data into our Wonderware historian, so that gives you your process analytics, very useful for compliance. You want to have a record of how you made something, be able to go back and think of it as a black box recorder on an airplane. It gives you the record of what happened in your plant in real time. So anything that happened in a PLC, we can capture very easily, automatically in the historian, and provide user-friendly tools to go back and see what happened. It's very useful for troubleshooting as well as reporting. Allow you to visualize the real-time information, both in the form of a graphical user interface that we call InTouch. InTouch is the market-leading, world-leading HMI software, human-machine interface software, that allows you to visualize your processes, control your processes, do things like download recipes, but see the information in real time. And different people might need to see different things. Operators might need to see different things than managers, and that can be tailored to the individual user. And you can make that information available via a web page so that you don't have to install anything on the client side. People can access the system from their desk, from their laptop, from their iPad or tablet, all through a web page. Now, the base framework for System Platform allows you to do the data collection and the supervisory control and monitoring, but then there's a lot of times specific functionality that folks want to add on top of their SCADA system, like equipment utilization. They want to see, are they using their equipment as planned? What is their OEE, or overall equipment effectiveness? And we'll talk more about what that actually means, but we have a module, an MES performance module, that plugs into System Platform. So now that you've got an incremental path to grow into adding functionality into your SCADA system as needed. So if you need to add OEE, we have an MES performance module. If you need to do material tracking, product tracking, genealogy, then we have an MES operations module. If you have a batch operations, this is very common in pharmaceutical or regulated industries that have to comply to FDA-regulated batch requirements. We have an in-batch module. If you need to do quality, statistical process control, SPC, specification, management, and sample plan execution, we have an MES quality module. We'll talk more in detail about these individual modules. If you need to do conditioning, monitoring, and preventative maintenance on your equipment to look at things like runtime hours, look at alarms and conditions that are meant to trigger work orders in your maintenance system, we have that capability. If you actually need a computerized maintenance management system for asset management and preventative maintenance work orders, we have a maintenance system as well. If you've got folks that need to go out and do operational rounds and do data collection manually out in the plant or the field, maybe there's safety inspections, environmental inspections, equipment setup inspections, those types of things, we have a mobile solution called IntelliTrack. And finally, we also have an energy management module. So if your company uses a lot of energy and you're looking for tools to control energy costs and lower energy costs, and you're putting energy meters in your plant for all types of energy, we have an energy management module that will work with your energy meters to do costing behind how much it costs to run an operation, to make product, and get alerts when you start to exceed the goals of your energy plan. And Wonderware System Platform is built on the .NET framework, so that means that you can do your own custom integration if required. We provide enterprise manufacturing intelligence, which is a dashboard tool to make sense of all this data. So if you wanted to look at an individual work order and see the quality report behind it, as well as what was the OEE, what was your efficiency when you ran this certain product, show me the traceability. So this dashboard allows you to put all this information into context very easily to provide self-service information and data, so people don't have to go ask for custom reports to be built. If you have third-party data sources, other SQL Server databases, for example, Access databases, we can integrate those as well. And we also have a workflow tool. And workflow can also interact with third-party systems. And if you have events and you need to trigger standard operating procedures, the notifications to those people, and the forms that maybe need to get filled out and approvals that need to happen, we have workflow that ties the people into the software systems. Okay, so let's look at the individual MES modules that plug into System Platform. First one we're going to look at is quality. Wonderware MES quality deals with quality specifications for your product, what is the sample plan definition, and then executing that sample plan. So doing your data collection, whether it's in a lab or through an automation system, we accommodate both, and doing SPC charting, statistical process control, against that real-time or manually collected data. So common to all of the Wonderware MES modules is work order execution. Everything starts with a work order. And so if you've got a work order that maybe originates in your ERP accounting system that specifies what product are we going to make, what's the quantity, what's going to be the raw materials, the bill of materials that we need that makes up this work order, we can then track this in real time in the manufacturing plant floor, and that's what Wonderware fits in, is connecting the business system with the plant floor. And MES operations deals with bills of materials, taking that bill of materials maybe from the ERP system if that's where it originates. If not, then we handle the bill of materials directly, and then we track the production events, the data collection, the procedures and steps, any certifications, labor and inventory associated with making that. And that's what gives you the traceability and genealogy and work in progress, is the MES operations. And then MES performance provides the equipment utilization and downtime and overall equipment effectiveness. So those are the three main MES modules for Wonderware. So Wonderware MES performance, the business value of it to reduce capital expenditures, do more with less, work with what you've got to squeeze out the last opportunity for improving efficiency with your existing equipment and resources, empower the operators to understand where those improvements are available, so you can focus your efforts on the root cause analysis of downtime, the bottlenecks. So the key capabilities, we automatically capture start-stop data and downtime data, reasons for downtime. We can also take operator entry for manual, further additional reasons for downtime, give you real-time visibility into production performance and root cause analysis for downtime, and you can configure the utilization events for each asset. So you can really get high-level granularity of why your efficiency maybe is not meeting your goals. OEE, overall equipment effectiveness, is an industry calculation. Again, every plant OEE, how they do their OEE calculation is going to be a little bit different, but really it comes down to availability, which is equipment availability, times performance. So if our goal is to make 100 widgets an hour and we're making 50 widgets an hour, then we've got 50% performance. And quality, not just how fast are we making product, but are we making good sellable product? If it's not good quality and not sellable, then it really doesn't matter how fast we're making it. So all of these calculations are important in calculating OEE. And again, every plant has a little bit variation on how they capture these things. Sometimes quality isn't as easy to capture at first, so maybe you just start with availability and performance and you add quality afterwards. MES operations, the business value is as the foundation for agile production processes. So, give you that visibility of, are we running on schedule? Are we behind schedule? We want to set up the standard operating procedures for how we make a product and enforce that through the work order process, and enforce some compliance and governance. So have that documentation of how we made product, that it was made to spec. So the key capabilities is to create and execute jobs and orders, record productions and consumptions, and capture transfer of inventory information, loads product specifications and production events, and give you a comprehensive manufacturing genealogy. So when we have a finished good, what were the raw materials went into it? Do we have any alarms when we made this? Do we have any exceptions? Any operator logs of events and exceptions that happened during this work order? And Wonderware quality, the business values to improve product quality and consistency, reduce process variation, identify those deviations in real time, and meet regulatory and customer compliance. And that's done through SPC alarms, alerting and charts, specification management, and sample plan definition and execution. Wonderware workflow, mentioned earlier, it allows you to take the events that are the exceptions that need to get people involved, give them the notifications with their standard operating procedures, forms that have to be filled out, approvals that need to happen, escalations if people don't respond in a certain period of time, and give you an electronic audit trail of did we follow our standard operating procedure, and where do we have an opportunity to make this easier and faster for people to complete their workflows so that we can, again, enable continuous improvement and increase efficiencies. And finally, we have Wonderware Enterprise Integrator, which is the connector of Wonderware MES to your ERP accounting system. And it doesn't matter which ERP accounting system it is, but it provides the store and forward capability. So if for some reason ERP is unavailable, the network is down, that we capture those events, we buffer them, and then we set them up to ERP as ERP is accessible and ready to take that information. And it's bidirectional, so we can take information from your ERP as well as send it back up. Okay, so I'm going to hand the controls over to Sam. In summary, Wonderware MES is a manufacturing IT platform. It's real-time information management across all your manufacturing systems, and it's scalable, and it is object-based, which makes it reusable if you have commonality in equipment or plants. We have a workflow integrated into it, and the functional breadth really allows you to start small and grow over time as your business needs arise. So Kelly, would you pass the presenter privileges?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. Thanks. So Sam, you should have the presenter role now. So
thank you. I'll go ahead and share my desktop now.
Perfect.
Okay, let me know, Kelly, when you see that come through.
We do see your screen now. Thanks, Sam.
Well, thank you guys for letting me share our success story that we've had with our partner there at New Belgium Brewing. Hopefully you find it to be useful and interesting, and I don't want to offend Mike by saying that maybe the hard part of the presentation is done and this is the fun part. It has to do with beer. All right, so our customer profile is New Belgium Brewing, Fort Collins, Colorado. They're the third largest craft brewer in the U.S. So when we talk about brewing, craft brewing is still quite small, but it is a very, very challenging market segment, and it's growing very rapidly. They have a lot of fun, unique challenges in their manufacturing brewing process that make it a real fun segment to work in. Their brewery is 100% employee-owned. They make about 800,000 barrels of beer annually. Well, they approached us a few years ago because their bottling operation was approaching its capacity. So it was a relatively new line, and they'd installed it for 5-10 years worth of capacity, but the rate of growth in the industry was just overtaking that plan. So they decided that they wanted to look at getting the most out of that capacity so that they didn't have to extend out into the property further and add another whole other capital investment with another bottling line. So that's when we started talking about adding Wonderware MES Performance to the mix. When I say we, it's Apex Manufacturing Solutions. We're out of Boise, Idaho. We're a woman-owned small business, and we're also a Wonderware endorsed systems integrator. So essentially, that's a group of endorsed integrators that have shown competency at some of the higher levels of applications and are able to provide essentially the best of what Wonderware has to offer using best practices. Our process when we go into a challenge like this is pretty straightforward, but it's a slightly different, I think, than some others that you may have come across in the past. So I wanted to review that real quickly. The overall project phases begin with an assessment, understanding the challenge, the situation, the business aspects of it, understanding the culture, the individual challenges that they're trying to accomplish, not just at the business layer, but also organizationally within the department, within our project sponsor. There was always various things to try to accomplish all at once. Once that assessment is complete and we feel like we have a clear deliverable lined out, then we go ahead and put design efforts towards that. In this circle, I specifically leave the design part of the pie quite large, and that's to help reinforce the thought and the concept that with a successful MES project, you'll spend more time digging into the business and understanding the process flows and the reporting requirements and all the requirements before really putting anything into code. And so it's important, both as a customer and a provider to be patient with that process and to also treat it with high regard and not to get antsy about when we're going to actually start writing code or installing software and all that fun stuff, because it's very, very difficult to undo and redo and change midstream once you begin. So you want to make sure that design process takes its full course. So then after implementation, then there's a validation phase to ensure that it's meeting the business requirements. And then very, very importantly, I draw this not as a process from point A to point B, but as a circle, as we just then begin reassessing where we're at now that we know this information, now that we have a system in place, now that we learned as an organization and an integrator, both sides of the fence, where we're at, what do we want to do next, and where's the next bit of ROI. So I hate to say that the process never ends, but it shouldn't end as long as there's ROI available to the facility and the business. So that's really our two core philosophies, is that we want the customer to instill a continual improvement culture right along with technology. We don't want them to rely completely on the technology to solve their problems. That would be handy and convenient, but it's not the reality of the situation. And we also believe that it's perfectly acceptable to have small sequential projects to accomplish your broader MES goals, as opposed to trying to fit it all into one project and one big bang, potentially with results that either didn't end up in the direction that the customer needed, or that never happened because of the complexity of it. So New Belgium embraced this concept fantastically, and they really went above and beyond on instilling this continual improvement culture to take advantage of their project. And if we look at an ROI in this type of project, I get this question a lot when we're first talking to customers. What's the ROI going to be, and what can I expect in order to justify it? And I just stack these three bars up so that we can really clearly show that bottom little segment, the orange one, that's the potential ROI that you'll get just from doing the MES software installation, configuration, and deployment. Relatively small. We all know that it takes action to make change beyond the software. Now, there will be some benefit from just simply executing the project because it's an awareness issue, right? So as soon as we start measuring things, then we can manage them. If we're not measuring them, then we can't manage them. And so there is some inherent return, but it really is not the extensive return that we've seen in these success stories, both with New Belgium and with Pepsi in the past, because there's other factors. So I put this center red bar in the middle because that really, okay, so we're going to move outside from the project level to the automation department, but keep it technical, right? We want to stay within our comfort zone, and we want to try to automate solutions to the problems that we see as a result of the project. And we want to engineer our way out of the improvements. And that does have much more potential as an ROI, but it still pales in comparison to organizational change and the potential ROI that can come from organizational change. So I wanted to spend the rest of this presentation speaking more about what could occur and can occur because of organizational change, more so than anything technical. So I hope that comes across clearly to everyone in attendance. From here on out, we won't talk necessarily about product features and deployment methods, right? We're going to talk about what do you do with this software once it's up and running in order to take advantage of that return. So we begin with measuring things, right? You need to be able to manage it somehow. So in New Belgium's case, then bottling is pretty straightforward from a rate and capacity standpoint because it's all about the filler and how fast it can run. In this case, it was 700 bottles a minute, which came out to be about 294,000 cases in a 24/7 operation. But they were consistently only seeing around 150,000 cases per week. And so we need to understand where that gap was and how to close that gap so that they could keep pace with the business. So how can they bottle some more beer? So we need to answer those questions, right? What are my downtime areas? Where are other areas of downtime? Is it some choices we're making that lead to that downtime, whether it's the frequency of our scheduled maintenance or shutdowns? Product mix, are changeovers taking a larger impact on our efficiency than we expected? We need to be able to answer all these questions with the system so that we can base our actions moving forward on facts and something that we can all agree on. So the team there at New Belgium, Joe Herrick in packaging and his manager, Phil Montero, they did a fantastic job of coming up with this cycle and implementing this cycle of stimulus and response. So they were chomping at the bit for this information. As this information came out, they were able to use the information as the stimulus. So sitting down, talking about what to improve, now they had this pool of information that helps us understand the source and quantity of unscheduled downtime and the source and quantity of scheduled downtime. And I italicized each of those opposite from the standpoint that when it's unscheduled downtime, you didn't plan on it, right? So that's like a stoppage on the line. Getting those sources nailed down and put into a database is absolutely key. We kind of already know the quantity of them because we know our net result of utilization, but we're not necessarily sure where it came from. On the flip side, with our scheduled downtime, holiday shutdowns, preventative maintenance shutdowns, any other shutdown, we know a lot more about those because they're scheduled and planned. But what is the right quantity to help balance against the capacity of our line and the needs of the line? So are we being too liberal with those scheduled downtimes compared to the needs of production? So we created a user interface. It's a fairly unique user interface that reflects the New Belgium culture. Probably a bit busy. In fact, if you're tuned in at all to the situational awareness conversation in HMI right now, this is like my unsituational awareness slide because it's bright and it has textures and all kinds of the stuff that you're not supposed to do in HMI SCADA control. But what we wanted to make sure we achieved was a couple things. One was organizational buy-in. It needs to fit within their organization. It can't feel like a tool that doesn't fit in their organization. And then we also use this exact same display to show it on large screen TVs for the public tours. So that introduced an element of a certain look and feel that we needed to maintain so that the tour was actually engaged in these blinking, green and blue and orange and red lights. And it wasn't just a slate gray P&ID that, that showed some conveyors and some equipment. So it was a fun challenge from that standpoint. But this operator interface essentially is just intended to show line overview, quick status, current production capacity and progress, and then some overviews of the scheduled and unscheduled downtimes. In the background, MES is logging these events. Each of the events is assigned a reason, duration. Those events then are managed by the operators to make sure that they accurately reflect the situation. We also expose through the ERP connector the packaging schedule. And in addition to the schedule, we actually, instead of having the operator have to move off of their control station over to an office PC and log into Dynamics AX and get additional information about the order, we tried to expose as much as we could here so that they could essentially stay within their area and stay as close to the equipment as they needed to. So one instance or example of that was exposing the bill of materials for the item that they were running and also converting the units of measure to a unit of measure that meant something to the operator at the plant floor level. So in this case, to perform this run of Ranger, they're going to need front labels a whole bunch of them, but we know the quantity in the shipped box of labels from the supplier. So we actually convert that to they're going to need 14.5 boxes of labels, and that's something that the operator can really relate to, as opposed to 63,500 labels. That's the real-time stuff. After the run is complete, then we have the reporting stuff, and we have reports for various aspects of measurement. So the unscheduled downtime and the scheduled downtime both. You can see the reports have been customized to New Belgium's look. They're based on the pre-canned reports that come with the product, but again, we're just tweaked a little bit to make sure that they were in line with their expectations. So Mike mentioned earlier that OEE has a standard calculation, utilization and quality and rate, essentially performance. I called this an OEE sub NBB because they had a little different take on it, and that's perfectly fine. We're used to slightly different angles on things. It's not necessarily the measurement that's important. It's the application of the measurement consistently and using that as a benchmark to make it better. So when we kick off these projects, I make sure and explain that I really don't care what that number comes out to be. A 60, a 70, a 30, that doesn't matter. What matters is that we're going to take that number and we're going to move it forward and make it better, and those incremental gains are all we're really looking for. So in their case, the components are yield, efficiency, and availability. So we have our quality aspect in the yield, we have our time aspect in the efficiency, time measured during runtime, and then we have a time aspect in availability where it's total time on the line, the entire scheduled runtime and scheduled downtime. And the scheduled downtime was very important to them that they measured. So we made sure that this was not just a runtime measurement system. So after implementing that system, getting some reports out, we discovered that, lo and behold, the reason why they couldn't make more than 150,000 cases a week was due to a block of unscheduled downtime and also a block of scheduled time, both blocks being larger than I think than we expected. So Joe and his team went to work and went to figure out what is going to be our response to this new information. So now that we've got it, the software's not going to do anything for us from this point forward. It's done its job. It's collected the events and the information. Now what are we going to do with that information? So the response was through a series of steps. Examples of those steps included being able to react more quickly to unscheduled downtime by increasing the maintenance staffing levels. Again, using the data, it was very easy to justify and show the return to that. Being able to react to gaps in our processes. So during changeovers, you see that there's varying changeover times for the same changeover process. So Joe added the process improvement analysis team, trained his people, really gave them all the tools they need from an organizational standpoint to address these issues that they see coming out of the reports. And that's an extremely, extremely key step. They also increased the frequency of information sharing. So they have a daily huddle. They literally, ironically enough, stop the line right where it's at for a few minutes every single day to huddle the team together, talk about the heavy hitters of the day, last shift, what's coming up, what are our goals for today, and then they go right back to work. But that meeting, and even stopping the line for that meeting, very much outweighs that downtime and gets everybody on the same page, and they were immediately able to show positive results from that, in addition to weekly reviews. So these larger trends start to come out in the reporting, and they can bring that data in and start looking at, are we getting better? What are the mix of these both scheduled and unscheduled events, and which direction are they heading? And then a few other kind of organizational things was that they had somewhat inaccurately calculated their capacity based on just that sheer filler speed before. So they updated that and created a capacity model that was more realistic and accounted for changeover activities, the specific types of changeovers, and they were able to use that to help with the scheduling process. In addition to educating and linking with the upstream, downstream processes to make sure that they were well prepared for the beer that was coming to them and that the distribution was well prepared for the beer that they were about to ship out. So the response to that information stimulus was the implementation of supporting systems and processes. And that really is the closed loop that we talk about in the continual improvement process that will take the solution to the next level. So the results from that, as you heard in the introduction, and we'll see in the success story that's published, the OEE was increased from 45 to 65 over a couple year span, and it continues to get better. Efficiency was being increased by up to 30%. So when they scheduled to run, when they planned on running, they did what they planned. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Definitely increased the capacity on the top end of 200,000 cases. So really digging into the capabilities of that line and being able to return more value back to the business by packaging more beer on demand for the same given time period. So that enabled them to delay that capital investment in the additional packaging, and also delay investment in additional labor to handle kind of what we consider to be like firefighting or general throw more people at it kind of approach. They were able to keep their staff the same, even though they were able to increase that production. So this quote, in summary, I think really says it all. And again, this is from Joe, and this is what's published in the success story that will be coming out from Wonderware if it's not already. And that was that it just gave them the confidence to bring on the higher volumes. And that's really what we want to do, right? We want to implement this software to gain information and use that information to run our business with greater confidence. So I think they just did a fantastic job of that, and it was really a pleasure to work on that project. So that's all the slides that I've got. I think Kelly's probably going to open up for a few questions if there are any.
Yes, I do have a few. Thank you, Sam. If you do have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box or the Q&A box that you should see on your screen. The first question that has come in, Sam, is are there plans for system expansion beyond the packaging area?
Sure, yeah. So the success of the packaging team has really keyed the rest of the business into what could be possible. What could be possible with applying that solution in other places. So it really turned the tables, I guess, internally, where before people may have been waiting on packaging. Now packaging is waiting on them. And so, yeah, absolutely, Joe and Phil plan to do some education internally in terms of what it might take to apply the software to their area. And we are definitely currently looking at applying it to the brew house operation and the cellar area.
Okay. Another question, does the system require a person to set the downtime cause, or does it happen automatically?
Yes. Let me back up just a hair. You'll see them bouncing around for a second. So the way that the system was implemented is that if we know the reason from the equipment, so if the OEM has provided us with a specific alarm, then we'll go ahead and pull that in and use it as the reason. The operator could change it from that point forward if they find out the new reason, but at least by default we're heading somewhere. We do also, though, have the option of having something come in as unknown, and in that case, then part of Joe's process was to flag to the operators that there is an unknown, something that was not being able to describe with the automation, and that they need to go in and reclassify that. So in this particular installation, it was a hybrid of both automated downtime reset codes and operator-driven. And the software can be done either way or both, essentially.
Okay. And it looks like this is our final question. It's a good one. Is it hard to be productive when you're surrounded by beer?
I suppose that depends on your personality.
Yes.
It is. It's hard to be productive when you're in that environment, but it's also extremely fun to be productive. So
Right.
maybe you don't call it work anymore.
Right. So I think that's all the questions. So I think that wraps it up. So thank you, Mike, and thank you, Sam. This was great. If anyone on this webinar would like to review any portion afterwards, a recording will be available on our website, norcal.wonderware.com. It should be up there this afternoon. If not, then it will be up there definitely by Monday. And again, you can find more information about future webinars and workshops on our website. So thanks, everyone, for attending, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.